Hello, hello. It's another Thursday, and I had an interesting Essure removal case today that I wanted to share with y'all. This is a lady who had chronic pelvic pain for years. I think more than 4 years she had chronic pelvic pain, and she had the Essure coils placed probably around the same time. I want to say maybe 5 years ago. She had pain initially with the insertion, but the pain got worse over the years. Came to see me. She's from out of town, actually. She's from out of state. Came to see me because everyone was telling her that it wasn't the coil that was causing her pain, that that's not possible, even though it says it in the black box warning. So she came to me. We had an x-ray done, and interestingly enough, or she had a CAT scan done actually before she came. The CAT scan showed that she had 2 coils on the left side. Magically, that's where her pain was. And I'm not saying that just having an extra coil on one side would necessarily cause pelvic pain, but she had 2 coils on one side, on the left side, and 1 coil on the right side. And the subsequent case today showed the following. And I'm going to show you the trees. What we saw was, when we got in, this lady had an Essure coil on the left side, so that's the left tube. And the Essure coil, you can see there's a coil actually in the tube, but there's a coil also protruding out of the side of the uterus about 1 centimeter away from the tube. So that she was being told doesn't hurt. She had that poking out. My guess is that that was placed there. This is not probably what we would call a migration of the coil, but more of a perforation. There is actually a coil sticking out of the uterus. Now, if we look at the other side, you can see it looks normal. That's the tube right there. It looks normal. This is her tube on the left side, looks normal. This is not normal. That is a coil sticking out of the uterus on the left side. This poor lady has had pelvic pain for 4 years and has been told over and over and over again that the coils do not cause pain. Well, even if you believed that this coil couldn't cause actual pain, which I believe it can in certain population of women, that could hurt. Now, if that coil, and I've said this 100 times before, if that coil was sticking out of your husband's scrotum and he crawled into bed at night and he was like, oh man, I got this coil sticking out of my scrotum and it's catching on the comforter and it hurts like heck. And he went to the doctor wouldn't say to him, that doesn't hurt. He would take it out. The problem is we can't see your uterus and we can't see your tubes. So we naturally treat you like you don't know what you're talking about. And that's wrong. If you have pelvic pain and you have the coils and you are being told that this is not causing you pain, please see somebody else. Please find a doctor that could potentially help you, that might actually believe in you, that might actually want to help you. I did 6 cases today. I did 5 the week before. And the goal here is to do the surgery that you want to do, whether that's removing the coils and tubes and leaving the uterus behind with a process that I call a bilateral salpingectomy with a partial cornuectomy. I call the Tassone method that, but I also add x-rays. If you're having a salpingectomy procedure performed, I always tell you to do a couple of things. Make your doctor draw you a picture of how they're going to remove the fallopian tubes from the uterus. Make them draw you a picture. If they show you anything that involves cutting open the tube, pulling out the coil, if they show you cutting the tube off right at the level of the uterus, please go somewhere else. That surgery is just rife with the possibility of leaving fragments behind. You want somebody that's going to do a partial cornuectomy where we're going to carve out a little bit of that corner of the uterus, leaving some of that uterine tissue on the coil so that everything comes out in one piece inside the tube still. The other thing is, And there's doctors that are doing that, and that's great, but they're still not getting x-rays. They're not getting the x-ray before the surgery, and they're not getting an x-ray during the surgery. If you're just having the tubes removed, you need an x-ray before and you need an x-ray during to know that they're removing everything. I can't tell you how many women I have talked to that have had an x-ray performed, have had no x-rays. They just go in and have the coils removed, and they're all excited and they're happy, and then they get an x-ray because they see somebody else had an x-ray, because I've done about 700-800 of these, and they get the x-ray done and they have half of a coil still in their uterus. If the x-ray was done during the surgery while you were still asleep, they would know that they left something behind, or they would know that you didn't have anything left behind. But how can you tell a patient that you got it all if you don't know you got it all? I can tell you the piece that could be left behind could be just small enough that you could never see it visibly because of the uterine tissue being there. So make them get an x-ray during the surgery. If they won't do it, go somewhere else. Finally, you can have a hysterectomy, especially if you're having tons and tons of pelvic pain, or if you're having lots of bleeding with your periods. A hysterectomy might be suited for you, especially if you've had an ablation or something like that in the past, but you don't have to have a hysterectomy. So also don't let somebody tell you that you have to have a hysterectomy. So get on my website, find my Essure patient bill of rights where I have things written down. Read my blog about Essure so you know what is going to be in your best interest. So when you go to the doctor, you can ask them to do what you want to do. Don't just feel like you have to do it the way that they're asking you to do it. I have women come from out of state all the time. We take insurance. I think we have good pricing for women that are cash pay. The hospital where I work has really come up with some competitive pricing. And really, you only have to come out for the one visit to have the surgery done. Everything else we can do remotely. I can order the x-rays. I can do everything. I've even had a woman come from Asia. And I'm not saying that there aren't doctors out there that are doing things the right way or want to do things the right way. But I will tell you this. There are doctors that are advertising themselves as removal experts. I have one here in Austin. And they're not. I know they're not because I know they haven't done any. There's a person in El Paso that is not Julio Novoa. I know Novoa, and I think he's great. But there is a doctor in El Paso that is claiming to be an Essure removal expert, and I don't know if he's done any. So make sure that you know who you're going to, that you know how many they've done. If you're questioning it at all, if you have a gut reaction that maybe they're not quite on the up and up, make them draw you a picture of how they're going to take those coils off. They should be telling you that they believe in you, that they understand that you're in pain, and you should feel that you've been listened to. Nat says that expertise, as Malcolm Gladwell has said in Outliers, expertise comes from 10,000 hours of practice. You're not going to be an expert by just saying that you're an expert, which happens all the time, even with hormone replacement. You know, there's a person that I know that has a hormone course who has absolutely no medical training that is now training doctors on how to do hormone replacement. There's absolutely, I don't understand that. You can't be a hormone expert if you've dabbled. That's just not going to happen. You can't be an Essure removal expert. I don't claim to be a health coach because I don't know how to do it. I'm not an expert health coach. I would never pretend to be a health coach. But for some reason, people out there like to pretend that they know what they're doing. And it's only a matter of time before individuals get hurt. I see bad removals all the time, probably every week. Consults and people telling stories. But an Essure removal expert is somebody, I would say, that is doing it the right way. Anybody can do a hysterectomy, obviously, any doctor. So if you're having a hysterectomy, then more power to you. I still think you need an x-ray beforehand to make sure that you only have 2 coils and that they're both in the pelvis. But if you are having a self-injectomy, I used to say they should do 30. I would say they need to do probably 50 before they're an expert. They need to do an x-ray before the surgery. They need to do an x-ray during the surgery. So let's look at this lady one more time. She was kind enough to have her surgery done. This lady had a coil. She had 2 coils on the left side. She was told over and over again that this could not be causing pain. Obviously, they didn't know that it was perforated like that, but they were told that the Essure can't cause pain. Obviously, again, this can cause pain. If this was sticking out of your arm or your leg or your forehead, this would hurt. Why it doesn't hurt if it's sticking out of your uterus or your tube, I have absolutely no idea. Women are minimized in the medical system. Women are constantly minimized in the medical system. Women are told that they're just getting older. Women are told that it's all in their head. Women are told that things don't hurt when they really do hurt. That to me is utterly ridiculous. It's insulting. It's sexist. And I think it's time that we finally grow up as healthcare providers and see people that actually believe in you as patients. Obviously, more than me out there doing that. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I just think that the Essure thing for me is a passion project. I didn't go into it thinking, I didn't search this out. It sort of found me. And if you're familiar with my story, you know that I was on the Essure Problems page 4 years ago. Well, longer than that now, 5 years ago. And when I first joined that page in 2013, I was kind of in the camp that I didn't believe it. And luckily for me, Angie still let me in the group, and they educated me. They told me, and they made me understand what was going on. So I now, obviously, 5 years later, have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of removals for people like Miss Hillier out there in Canada, all the way down to Mexico, in Asia, London. I've had people come from all over. So if you have questions, we can do consults virtually. If you have questions, if you don't have anybody that believes you, you can come see me. I'll do what I can. I will help you, I promise. I take insurance. I might be the only person that has had this type of experience in the nation, maybe the world, that's done this many. There's a video floating around by a very well-known gynecologist. I think it's on OBGYN News or something like that, and he does a removal where he literally just pulls the coils out. I don't understand it. He's a very big-name academician, and that's what they do. And so I just think that if you were my family member, I would want you to have it done the way that it's going to remove everything in one shot so that you don't have to have surgery again. So I'm going to step down off of my soapbox, and I'm going to stop calling people out that are calling themselves experts. And maybe I'll become a men's health expert. Wouldn't that be? That would be hilarious if I called myself, and this is the same thing, me calling myself a men's health expert because I go to a couple of seminars and I treat 5 men a week for testosterone replacement. That doesn't make me a men's health expert. That makes me somebody that might be familiar with men's health, that might dabble in men's health. I wouldn't want to go as a man to see somebody that dabbles in men's health. I want to know this person. I want to know what they do. I want to know their expertise. Just saying that you got a certification from some made-up place that doesn't mean anything doesn't make you an expert. Just saying that you got trained somewhere where you spent 10 hours of coursework or even 100 hours of coursework, or the people that call themselves researchers, even though that just means they read a book. Reading a book doesn't make you a researcher. That makes you a reader. A researcher is somebody that's actually out there doing researcher. You don't do research when you read a study. That's not doing research. That's called reading a study. Yes. So these people need to stop calling themselves experts. They need to stop calling themselves researchers or that they research topics, because they're just reading and they're pretending to be experts when they're really not. So find people where you live. Find doctors that believe in you. Find doctors that aren't telling you that you're too old, that it's in your head, or that it's just one of those things that, oh, you're just 40 and it should hurt. What the heck does that even mean? I'm 52, and yeah, things do hurt, but it's just because I got bad knees. So I just finished working out, thus my pompadour. It's looking good. I'm gonna go eat a pizza now because that's what I do after I work out. I reward myself with pizza, which is probably the wrong thing to do. You're a wonderful doctor. Thank you, Jill. I would love to come see you for my hysterectomy removal. I'm constantly in pain and have had 2 ablations, one during original implant surgery and one after due to such severe bleeding. First of all, Jill, they should never do 2 ablations. If the first one doesn't work, why would you do another one? I don't understand that. My colleagues, I don't get it. I don't even think you're supposed to do 2 ablations. Currently dealing with bladder infection, second one. Bladder infections, yeah, they suck. They can be fairly common, but we need to, you can always, Maddie put the link up a little higher on Essure consults, how you can get a hold of us, or how you can get a hold of me online. We'll set up a phone consult, we'll talk, we'll figure out what would be best for you. We'll find out your insurance coverage, what your costs would be. It is starting towards the end of the year, so everybody's deductibles are met. October, November, December tend to fill up pretty quick because deductibles are met and costs out of pocket are really low. So if you're going to get in by the end of the year, you probably need to hurry up and get your appointment in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks. So give us a call at 512-956-0296, or you can go to the consultation page and pay for a visit if you don't have insurance, and we'll get you scheduled. So I'm going to take off. I got to hop in the shower so I can eat my pizza. Another Essure day of removals. I hope you're all doing well and that you are hormonally balanced.